Oh, guys, good, you're here. I am so excited. Guess what? I hope this isn't about your podcast again. Why, did you finally listen to it?
Before we start this podcast, let me invite you to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, YouTube, or any podcaster. I'm such a cute. Alright, everybody, quiet on the set. The Groomer Next Door, take one. To the audience. In 3, 2, 1. Action! And he is your host, my mommy and daddy, Chris and Stella Green.
Sit down.
Hello, Pups and Kittens, and welcome back to another fun-filled edition of the Groomer Next Door. This is episode 118, and I'm your co-host, Chris Green. Sitting next to me is always the fabulous Sarah.
Hello.
And I'm looking at the dials. We're doing okay.
It's just when you start, it gets so much louder.
Well, that's because the crowd doesn't know how to stop.
But then everybody starts looking at us.
Oh, well, that's what happens when you have a microphone. And the lights are glaring on top of us, and even though it is a lamp that's on top, everybody has one on their area, whatever. I'm just rambling at this point. Well, I don't know. It weird day. Kind of gray outside. Things don't seem to be normally, the normalities of what, has been going on. It's been so abnormal lately, and everything's all
I think that's where the abnormal
behaviors and everything. Yeah, everything's just completely out of whack for me right now. So that's a little bit different. I'll explain in just a second what kind of throwing me off, but that'll be in our weekly roundup. So anyway, like I said, it's kind of gloomy out, got a lot of things going on. So let's just dive into the weekly roundup.
The weekly roundup, yeehaw.
Alright, this week on our weekly roundup, I have a diabolical, catastrophic event happen to me this week. And
Wait a second. I have to interject right now. I was in the groom room.
well, let me. I wanted you to tell me about your week,
here I
or tell
am.
everybody about your week.
You don't want to lead off with your...
Oh no, we can lead off with mine. That's fine.
Right. I'm sitting in the groom room. I'm getting ready to get a dog out to groom, obviously, because I was in the groom room and I'm a groomer. So.
Is that why we're called the Groomer Next Door?
Unless you're in Europe and people think groomer is something bad.
That is true. I guess I could talk about that at another time. I'll explain that later. Try to remind me about that, because that's a hysterical story.
So, I'm getting my section cleaned up and prepared for the next dog, and all of a sudden I hear in the next room a crash, and then no! I mean, the most pitiful no ever, the loud, annoyed, upset no I haven't heard since we lived.
But no cursing.
Yeah, no cursing.
I mean, you gotta give me
The
that.
only kind of no I heard like that was when we were at our apartments, and there was another building behind us that was only like 5 feet away from us, and I guess the woman was having a very disappointing night with her husband.
They were fornicating.
And she had a very disappointing night. But it was the same. It was no. I jump up and I'm like, oh, here we go. What happened?
Right. So, at this time, now if you're watching this on YouTube, this is the same day. I'm actually filming our podcast, the video for the YouTube channel, and I have my phone in the bathing room. Now I have my phone on a table, so it's nice and put away. And it's one of those Samsung Galaxy Note 5s, which I can tell you the pros and cons to that, but this is not the tech show. So I'm filming, and I have my camera up, and I Bluetooth the actual playback on my phone. Fancy. So I'm looking to make sure camera is in a nice angle, make sure that you guys can all see it in the proper way, because I want to make sure the video looks nice for you guys. So what had happened was is I'm checking, our shampoo levels to make sure that we're at the right, right amount, so that I, don't run out while working on a dog. And I kind of shake the machine a little bit, and as I did that, the phone falls. Now, it doesn't fall from a great height by any means.
Well, about 4.5, almost 5 feet.
I was going to say 5 feet. That's what I would have said too. Doesn't fall far at all. I've dropped phones from a lot further. I've dropped my iPhone from a lot further, from on top of the machine, and it's fine. And I just kind of look at the phone, and it's blinking. A line, this kind of purple line blinking. And I just knew right away. The phone died. It crapped out. So I pick up the phone, and there's a big crack. I mean, literally shattering crack on the left top portion with the blinking LEDs. It is dead. Completely gone. There's no way of fixing this phone. I mean, there is, but it doesn't. The value of the phone for fixing it's going to overpower. So I'm SOL. I know this. Now, we have insurance through our cell phone company. You want to talk about POS kind of insurance? So I was hoping, I got insurance. I've never used it. Had this cell phone plan for 10 years. Maybe all will work out. Nope. Straight $175 cash up front. We don't care. This is how it is. Literally just the worst.
Yeah, for all those who have insurance out there for your phones, you might want to double check and see if you really want to spend $10 a month for 2 years for your phone just to pay $175 deductible.
Well, I've had insurance on my phone the entire 10 years that we've had this cell phone plan, and we have multiple lines. And I was thinking, well, you know what, they're going to do something because we've been with them for so long that they're going to take care of me. Instead of them taking care of me, they were rude, disgusting. I'm going to be calling because I'm still ticked off.
I'll probably be the one calling.
I never call because I really hate customer service for majority of things. So I had one guy actually throw me to another person, and I was nice. And that's the weird part. I was being nice, and I got tossed to somebody else instead of actually helping me. They just put me through to another person. Oh, let me help you. Let me get with another customer service agent. Let's see if we can put our heads together. He just tossed me away. I'm ticked. So, anyway, I've been without a phone now for we filmed on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is my third day without a phone. And if you've ever been without your phone, you're going to know how difficult it is, especially if that's what you use for everything. I make everything. I make art on my phone. I do so many things. Our album art for the podcast is done with the phone. And I'm using my iPhone, which is an iPhone 4. This thing has been around the world. Literally has been around the world. And is still doing fine. Never had an OtterBox for it. Never needed anything like that. Everybody's going, why don't you have an OtterBox? I've got.
The thing is that you need a jelly wrap around the phone, like mine. Mine has the squishy stuff that when it does drop, it bounces.
Well, it bounced. It bounced. It
After
bounced.
It shattered the screen.
Well, yes.
It wasn't just a crack.
No.
There's spider shatter.
Yeah.
Spider web shatter.
It's terrible. It's terrible. So, no Facebook, no social media. Uploading this podcast is going to be so much fun because I'm going to have to go back to the old way of doing it all on the computer. Everything is completely upside down for me, and I have not been able to recover from it. So, probably that's why I'm a little off today, because everything is completely in a different way. I don't even know how the album art's going to turn out. We're recording the podcast, and I don't even have it done yet. That's how bad things have been. So, anyway, folks, I can tell the bar is kind of bubbling. You can hear everybody making drinks over there. Loud, we're doing a live show here. Can you believe how loud it is? Boy. Well, tell me about your weekly roundup, darling.
Nothing to report. Just that we are amazingly booked out.
We are already booked out till May.
No, we have a couple big dog appointments open in
Do we do still?
At the very end.
Okay.
But our next appointment, I don't think is until, oh gosh, is it April 15th is our next appointment?
I thought we were I thought there was scattered, almost just. Yeah, so, it's difficult. And we're still getting the calls day of, hey, my dog has mats and is filthy and needs a groom. You tell them when, and they're like, oh no, he needs to be in today. Yeah, that's a daily basis now.
Yeah. I think I already talked about the
last week.
One lady that wanted in, and I was like, nope.
Yeah, she never did call back.
No, she didn't.
And again, if you call a salon and they're available that day, you probably know why they're available that day.
Sometimes you never know. You have a bunch of cancellations or no-shows.
We have them. And what happens if somebody cancels or no-shows?
They get put on a list, and if they call back to reschedule, if it's not a good excuse, they're put to the very back. That's how we weed out the groomer hoppers. Groomer hoppers are not treated with special care to grooming salons because they know that you're not going to stay loyal to them.
Yeah.
They know that the haircut that you work so hard to give your dog, or give the dog, is just going to get messed up by another groomer somewhere else because you don't want to ever wait to get your dog groomed.
Or make those proper appointments and then back them up with the next appointment.
So if you're thinking, hey, I want my appointment when I want it, and that's going to be when I call, well, then you're not going to get a very good groomer because good people know good groomers and they know that they book up quickly. Right. It's like going to a nail salon. There's a nail salon here in town that is one of the best nail salons, and they're booked up 2-3 months in advance. So when the people come in for the nail salon appointment, they make 2 or 3 ahead of time, and they keep them. Yeah. I have a customer who is taking a day off from work just so they can make sure the dog gets to and from the salon. And they don't have just a typical job. No, this is a nurse. Yeah. This is a nurse that they have a rotating schedule, so she's putting in that she needs this day off, and even though it's not her normal day off when it's rotating, she's still doing it. And then our 2 cocker pups, they come in every 5 weeks, and they're a little pissed off, a little mad. Oh, that was funny. Yeah, they're a little mad that I had to put them 7 weeks out. Was it 6 or 7? I thought it was 6. Really? I had to go 2 weeks longer, and these guys get hot and they get hairy quickly. So, I got a chuckle out of it. I did get a chuckle, because, I mean, he's got a great deal going on. Well, he just looks at me and goes, he says BS, but the full entirety of the word. And he's like, no, you're not. I'm like, I'm sorry, I am. And I show him my book. I'm like, look, there is literally nowhere to stuff your guys. So he goes, all right, fine. Put us in for 7 weeks, and then 5 weeks after that, and then 5 weeks after that. He's got a standing appointment from now up until the beginning of July. And then once he comes in next time, he'll have one for August. It's absolutely insane. I mean, I'm grateful and I'm exhausted at the same time. It's like I think sometimes about doing this podcast during the week. You know, Tuesday, Wednesday, I start to really think about it, and it's funny because I'll have ideas. Oh, I want to talk about this. I'm gonna remember. I don't remember. By the time it's time to sit down and do this, I don't remember anything of what I was thinking about then. All right. Well, that's kind of our weekend. It's always nice to go to work and have something happen that's gonna cost you more than what you made that day. So, I guess if any of you have had traffic violations that week or costs that unexpected costs like we just had, you understand exactly the pain that we're just going through. So, and it's not like we just use our phone to make phone calls or to text. No, we use it to take pictures of dogs, do research, film. all these things that we do for work. I mean, our phones, when we first started, I was using only 10% of my portion of the cell phone bill as a tax write-off for business. No, not now.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's half of our bill.
Well, yeah, because the podcast takes my phone.
Yeah, well, we take text messages for appointments.
Yep.
We take Facebook messages for appointments. We take Facebook posts as
advertisement
and for booking appointments.
Right.
We use any form of technology possible to make appointments.
Yeah, we expand phones.
And for advertising. So
promotion, advertisement.
When I look at our phone and when we use for personal use, I mean, I don't have any games on my phone because it's all full of dog pictures. I barely have pictures of us.
You never back up any of yours, and I'm guilty. I didn't even back up some of the templates that I have for the podcast. So I'm really hurting.
They're on Facebook. All the ones that I take pictures of, they end up being on Facebook.
True.
And I can pull them off of Facebook at any time.
True.
And Facebook isn't going to go under anytime soon. So it's not like
don't even start me. Don't even start me on Facebook. I already ranted last week about them.
Okay.
Well, let's just kind of move on. Oh boy, you hear that? Sounds like recall police is coming in. Alright, this week I guess we have a recall. First recall in a while. I mean, it has been quite a while since our last one. I think it was like January or something like that. Alright, well, our good friends at Purina have done it again.
I was just watching a commercial how they're using the people who create the formula for the food. Say, I am proud to serve my dog for the past 12 years. Purina dog.
You still have the same dog?
And it's still thriving at 12 years of age. I'm still more than happy because I know the quality ingredients that's put into this. Yeah,
well, this week Purina Beneful and ProPlan dog food have a recall. This recall came in on March 10th of this year, obviously. The Nestle Purina have announced it is voluntarily recalling select lots of Beneful and Purina ProPlan wet dog foods because they may not contain the recommended level of vitamins and minerals. Dope. Purina discovered through its own testing that the affected dog foods did not contain the recommended levels of vitamins and minerals and voluntarily recalled the product. Now, what is being recalled? The recall includes select lots of the wet dog food 10-ounce tubs under the Beneful prepared meals, Beneful chopped blends, and ProPlan savory meal blends. No other Purina products or sizes are affected. The lot information is a lot complete list of included products by best before date and product code ranges are labeled below. Really is kind of a difficult one to read. The Beneful prepared meals, 10-ounce tubs. What's
the website that you're getting this from? They can go and see it themselves.
I get mine from dogfoodadvisory.com. Let me continue with what I've got here. What to do. Purina is conducting the voluntary recall as precaution for those dogs who may have eaten the affected products as their only meal for more than several weeks. If you have questions about your pet's health, the company suggests that you contact your veterinarian. Although most of the recalled product contain all of the vitamins and minerals the dog needs, Purina recommends that you discard any of the affected products you may have. For more information or to request a refund, please call the company at 1-800-877-7919. U.S. citizens can report complaints about FDA-regulated pet food products by calling the Consumer Complaint Coordinator in your area, or go to www.fda.gov/pet food complaint. Canadians can report any health or safety incidents related to the use of the product by filling out the Consumer Product Incident Report form. Get your dog food recalls from us whenever we get them. And that concludes everything I have. And now on to G&D News. Alright, this week on GND News we have 2 stories plucked from the news this week. One involves Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer, and another one is kind of a continued PSA about puppy mills and when you're actually trying to adopt your next furry friend, things to consider. So, with that said, let me set up the Cesar Millan situation. So this past Thursday, Cesar Millan's training facility was, I wouldn't say raided, but local officials actually arrived to do an investigation on the practices by Cesar Millan. Cesar Millan is being accused of animal abuse. Now, this is one of those stories that you're going to have to kind of decide whether it's a witch hunt, if there's validation to it, or, however you want to perceive it. I'm kind of 50-50 on this one. I know you have your opinions on it as well. And, we'll talk about that in just a second after we listen to the clip. But, it's kind of an interesting one. So, Claire, play that clip.
Dog whisperer Cesar Millan is now under investigation for possible animal cruelty. Los Angeles officials flooded with complaints after a dog attacked a pig during a training session on the show Caesar 911. Animal control visiting his dog center in California last night. Millan, as we understand it, was not there at the time. They say they're giving him 24 hours to reach out to them and try to explain what was going on.
He needs to learn to stay calm with other animals. The pigs are just to start. Now let's take the leash off. But it's important that I train him to behave properly off leash as well. There you go. Hey, there you go.
Oh, he got the ear.
So, tell me what your opinion is.
I think there's better ways of getting dogs to acclimate to other animals without just letting it go. I think he's trying to experiment on
Debilitating?
No, experiment on reinventing himself.
Okay.
He's so far, after so many years, you become a one-trick pony. You do one thing and you've had a couple blow-ups and things that
he has been very highly sued. There's been a lot of things about him over the last few years. I mean, he's not clean and innocent. I mean, he's got a lot of things.
He's also saved a lot of dogs' lives. And it's not one of those, still. No, a lot of dogs would have been killed if it wasn't for him.
But I could say that about all dog trainers out there. I mean, we know two who do a great job.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say to you is that it's not, all because he did a couple good things. No, he's done a lot.
I'm not arguing this at all.
He saved a lot of lives. Problem is, I think, is that everybody's so desensitized by him because he's been pushed into everybody's face for so long that people are stopped caring. So he's going to try to find another way of training a dog. Well, obviously this isn't working. Because another animal's getting hurt trying to save one animal's life.
Yeah, you're one for another. I mean, it is odd.
And I'm pretty sure that if you go to wherever he's at, there aren't a bunch of pigs there that are suffering from infections and stuff like that because he's letting these dogs bite them and not take care of those pigs either and wound care. I still think there's a better way. I think trainers have been dealing with the situation for far longer than he has.
True.
And they don't need live props to do so. And when it is live animals, it's under extreme caution.
Yeah.
And that dogs never absolutely let go until proven, hey, I can walk past this animal several different times on a leash without doing anything to him.
That's my takeaway. I mean, he just went off leash train. Here, go. I mean, it was more of an attack dog.
And you see with TV and television, it changes people. You start out with the most purest intentions, And then you start talking about the ratings.
Oh,
and
yeah.
wanting people to watch. And people coming to you and saying, well, people aren't watching as much as they used to, so you have to do things differently. And then you compromise your integrity. And I think that's what's happening right now. I think that
his ratings are low, or his show is not on.
People expect Cesar Millan to be a certain way. Mm-hmm. And all of these new and creative ways to correct bad behavior, that now he's got to come up with something new, something another trainer hasn't done before, and try to coin that.
So what you're saying is it's almost like a magician who has to come up with a new act, in a sense.
Yeah, right, for people to still be entertained.
Mm-hmm. The song, the lady in half trick is done. Now you have to come up with something else.
What he should be doing is enjoying a retirement, in a sense. He's old enough. And
yeah, I don't know how old he is, but he's, let's be realistic.
He's made enough money.
Oh, yeah.
To be able to survive for a very long time and take care of the animals that he is already committed to taking care of. But once you get bit by that bug of, hey, everybody knows who I am.
Yeah, the fame
bug.
The
fear of nobody knowing who you are later sets in. So
we totally understand that. Being a successful pet podcast like this that everybody knows, yeah. I look, as somebody who likes pork products, I really can't weigh in on this situation. Because I'm with the dog. I love pork.
You don't want... I'm a meat eater too. I mean, I cook your bacon.
Yes, that's right. That's right. No, I don't think that using a live animal is smart.
No, it's not. But also we try to do and prepare as best as possible to make sure the meat that we have is cruelty-free.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
As best as possible. You know, because no living thing deserves to suffer before maintenance due.
Right.
And that's the same thing here. The pig does not need to be tortured.
I just here's where I'm gonna go. Let's just take everything out of the equation and here's the thought process. You have a dog that's animal aggressive. So that means that whether it's gonna be a cat, a dog, a pig, a horse, even though a horse would have fun with that. But still, it doesn't matter. You have this dog that honestly has got a temperament problem. Could even have a neurological problem. I mean, there's many things that can happen. Could have a dietary problem. You know, there's a lot of things that could be wrong here. And of course, I do know that he has a little bit of methods that I have caught him in a lot of trouble over the years. But you have to rehabilitate a dog that's got these problems, like Sarah said. On leash train first. Walk the dog around this dog, around the pig.
Yeah, then loose lead him.
Yeah,
for a great deal that the dog feels like he can take off, but will get snapped back real quick.
Yeah. I just didn't understand
and that's fine with me. If a trainer's in control of that leash, and there's just say there's a 10-foot leash that is loose lead, you know, so there's a bunch of lead there. Once the dog can handle being on a loose leash and able to walk around freely and not attacking the livestock, well, then take the leash off.
Yeah.
And if you know, God forbid, if the animal gets hurt, you put that leash back on, you start over from zero.
Right.
And you still work at it, and you keep doing it that way. But you won't know until you're in that situation if the dog's fully recovered. So the dog needs to be put into that situation, but not for a while.
Yeah, I don't know how long.
Not a couple days in.
Yeah, and I don't.
Not a little is going to stop it.
Well, no, he was away from the pig. I mean, there was literally it almost looked like an attack dog going for something. It was ridiculous watching the video of it. I mean, I was like, really? This is kind of, you know, if that. Okay, I guess I am kind of voicing an opinion on it, but it's.
I knew you would.
No, I'm trying not to.
I knew it. I knew it.
I just don't understand.
Keep an opinion away from you is never mind.
I just don't understand why he didn't have any protection for that pig. I mean, there was nothing by the pig. The pig was on its own. It just didn't. It looked like it was set for a luau. I mean, it was ridiculous.
I mean, I would have been
I wouldn't have.
somebody
I would
near
never.
the pig
Yeah.
with some kind of blowhorn to scare the dog.
Yeah.
Because that's what typically happens. When we worked for the big box pet store, I was told where the dog fight kit was, and it was leads to keep the dog away from each other. But if it got to the point where it was actually aggressive biting, you use the air horn to startle them. If the air horn didn't work, you use the pepper or the mace or the pepper spray, whatever one. Citronella. That's it. Citronella stuff, spray. It's not going to harm the dog, but it's sure going to hurt them.
Yeah.
Quick enough to let them make them release. So.
Or you stick your finger in their butthole.
Where did that come from?
That's actual fact. If a dog's attacking you and biting you, you're supposed to stick your finger in their butthole and it stops it. Don't look at me like that. I'm not joking. You get the funniest grin on your face right now.
What's the point?
Well,
right now?
I don't know. I just thought I would
Sit still. I don't want to jam my finger.
I just thought I would say it. I mean, hey, PSA, folks. Well, come to your own conclusion on this one. You know, if you're a Cesar Millan fan, then this is, just another witch hunt in your opinion. Hey, I have nothing against what your feelings. If you hate Cesar Millan and you're glad that this is happening, that's your feelings and that's okay. I think back to a friend of ours who actually had the opportunity to do his show and he turned it down, and that's the only thing I'm taking away from this, going, well, maybe this was a good idea then. Alright, well, with that said, let's move on to the next story. We've actually spent more time talking about this story than the actual news report did. That's pretty sad. The next one is just really kind of lays out a PSA on puppy mills and everything that's going on. I mean, it is literally staggering how bad it is right now. And again, I've said it before, the Midwest can be very difficult when it comes to puppy mills and the approach to dogs. So, Claire, lay that clip.
In other news tonight, the nearly 300 dogs pulled from a Northwest Arkansas puppy mill last week have been cared for, and some are now headed to rescues to be adopted. The Humane Society of the United States says you, the consumer, have the power to stop puppy mills. Channel 7's Jordan Bonnke on your side tonight to explain how. Jordan.
Well, Beth, if you're looking to buy a dog, you may search online, but do you really know where that dog is coming from? Tonight, the Humane Society shows us how you could keep from funding a puppy mill. The poodle on the table isn't in good shape. He was neutered on Tuesday. That's why he's so sedated while Humane Society field workers remove years of matted fur all over his body. The poodle is one of the 295 dogs rescued from a Madison County puppy mill last week.
Puppy mills, a lot of it's about money.
Troy Snell with HSUS says that he's responded to 5 puppy mills in Arkansas in the past 5 years. He says that puppy mills can be eliminated by cutting them off at the source, money. The Humane Society of Pulaski County says to avoid buying dogs online, in parking lots, or flea markets. If you buy from a breeder, ask to see if the parents of the dog are in good condition. The woman who was charged with animal cruelty in Madison County was reportedly operating through a website, theperfectpuppyofnwa.com.
It makes me feel that I've heard this story before, and nothing has changed.
State Representative Jim Cervillo wants to piece together a bill for the next legislative session to create a way for breeders to register themselves so that buyers know that they're legitimate, and to create a law to harshen penalties for animal abusers.
I believe they need to go to jail. This lady needs to go to jail.
And for that poodle that wasn't doing so well, after nearly 3 pounds of matted fur was removed, the dog will soon be ready for its forever home.
That's a good boy now, huh? You feel much better, yeah.
And some good news tonight. 50 of those dogs that were with the puppy mill last week will be up for adoption this Saturday from 12 to 4 at the Humane Society of Saline County. Beth?
All right, Jordan, glad to hear they are doing better. Thanks for the update.
So, El Presidente, our Vice Presidente, what is your take on this one? I mean, you're seeing a great deal of dogs that are well taken care of. You know a great deal about puppy mills and people that are just kind of dog flipping or even cat flipping right now. So how do you want to weigh in on this?
I think it's absolutely right. You gotta start defunding them, and defunding a puppy mill is stop buying dogs from stores. You know, you
or
go
websites like they've been doing.
Or websites. There's a difference between a breeder and a puppy mill. Breeders, if they have one female, they breed them once or twice in just a matter of a couple years. Not once every time they go into heat. When you go to the breeder and you want to pick up a puppy, you make them show you where these dogs live and how they live. Make them show you the food that they feed these puppies. Stop buying them at stores, all because they're cute behind the glass. Unfortunately, those dogs, it's just a vicious cycle. Because you see these dogs that need a home inside this pet store. And if they get so big and they don't get sold, many things can happen. One, they'll go back to the breeder, and it's typically a puppy mill. They use them to breed, or they go and they just put the animal down because it's too old to do anything to, or it ends up in some kind of shelter or sold on Craigslist, or so many things can happen to them. You can't guarantee that if that dog in that store doesn't sell by a certain time, what's going to happen to it. So then people are like, oh, he needs a life, a good life, so I'm going to take him. Well, that frees up another spot for them to put another dog there. It's a vicious cycle that isn't stopping anytime soon. And it frustrates me. It starts with, don't go to that store. Don't walk into them. We walked into them. Back before we started really getting involved in the animal community, we didn't know any better. We bought two bunnies from a pet store. Versus going and finding one we can adopt. We didn't know there was such a thing for bunnies. We didn't know there was such a thing for any of those animals.
You don't really see those pet stores around as much.
We're in the Midwest. You'll see if you get on the West Coast or East Coast.
Yeah, probably right.
Yeah. Here, they're... yeah. Anywho. You just totally derailed me.
Sorry.
But we ourselves have been part of it, and I'm not going to lie about it. We've never bought a dog. We never had the $800-900 it took to buy one. But we did have the $50 to get a bunny. 2 bunnies. Three bunnies. We got dinner, dessert, and lolly.
Yeah.
We loved them to death. We have Ashes. I mean, they were our world. But we won't ever do that again.
Ashes are the bunnies.
Yeah.
I just had to be more specific. I don't know why. Okay. Going.
But these puppy mills are disgusting. They're gross. There's a lot of just... I don't know. My frustration stops me from completing sentences. I get so frustrated with all these puppy mills. It's not going to stop unless people are going to be educated. And people aren't going to be educated unless they want to be educated. And ignorance is bliss. 90% of Americans are. They would rather just ignore the fact, continue living their happy lives, while everything else around them falls apart. And this is it. Here are these dogs sitting on wire crates. I don't know how many dogs I groomed that were affected, or that were puppy mill pups, that end up having to have multiple litters, or something went wrong. They got their foot stuck in the grate and broke their foot at a puppy age. That has happened. And instead of the people killing that puppy, someone came along at the right moment to stop it. Those are the hardest ones. If I wasn't there, that dog, they were going to kill that dog right then and there. Well, they get into these crates that we put our pups in for holding, for grooming, and they sit there and they spin in circles. They don't move, they just go in circles. And that going in circles is because they're used to being kept in a smaller cage than what we have them in now, because, our crates are pretty big. Especially for the little guys, they're pretty big. But they're used to just going in circles in the one spot, because they know that they go back into that mindset, I'm in a puppy mill, in a teeny tiny cage I can't do anything about. So I'm just going to go in circles because this is the only way to get my energy out.
Right.
I mean, it is heartbreaking to see it.
Yeah, and you know, another thing that a lot of people don't understand is when puppy mills are raided and the dogs are actually rescued, a lot of them, you know, especially the ones that are long coat, double coated, those dogs have never been groomed. So they have mats right to the skin. So to shave them down, I mean, it is horrendous. And we've seen one.
Yeah, they shave them enough to where that the puppies can still feed.
Yeah, that's it.
That's called maternity cuts.
Yep, that's it. And so the top, their heads, their necks, their manes, their backs, their whole body is all just destroyed. And then, just like Sarah said, just a spot, just to be able to nurse, and that's it. And then these dogs are rescued, and it's just absolutely terrible. So, you know, next time, any of you guys, if you're all thinking about adopting a dog, for some reason you're like, I'm going to go online and look, Craigslist, even Facebook, any kind of social media page, even outside of a Target, a Walmart, a grocery store, all these places that people like to just bring the dogs. Hey, you know, and they'll give you this BS story. They'll even have a kid with them. And, you know, they'll have all kinds of, you know, little stories. Oh, our dog just had a litter. It's all a scam. You know, that's the sad part is you got to weigh out what's scam, what's true, what's false, all this stuff.
And then, I don't know about you, but I would feel awful saying no to somebody because you know that dog's not going to have a good home. But if you do intervene and you do help without actually stopping the problem, it's just going to make it bigger.
Yeah, the cycle just continues to go. It's terrible. So, yeah, just another thing to think about, you know, when it comes to all the things that are going on in the world.
Adopt, don't shop.
Yep.
I mean, that is the biggest thing. You can get a purebred from a shelter. You can get a purebred from a rescue. There are rescues out there with breed specifics.
Yeah.
Like we have one Boston Terriers that is based out of Lebanon here. You have Akita Rescue. There's one real big Akita Rescue out in Arizona where we were going to get our Akita originally. You can get any purebred anywhere.
And it's done properly.
Yes. And it's because of all those jacks. I gotta watch myself. All those jerks out there who are breeding irresponsibly. There's this one guy on Facebook I just saw that flipped. I was so mad. He is a cook at a restaurant here, and here in town. He was looking for a female pit bull under the age of 6 months old. Okay? And he openly said he wanted a pit bull so he can breed his male.
Which most likely, he's probably not a good pet owner.
Right. And someone else, okay, that's her. I'm making sure I had her name right. I probably shouldn't say it because she's got a very unique name. So, but this one person that she lives in St. Louis, she posted there, and she goes, do you realize the number one dog put down in the United States is a pit bull type dog?
Right.
American pit bull, it could be any kind of pit bull. Any kind of bully breed, really. But they're the number ones put down because they're the number ones overbred. And he's going to contribute to that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, he wants one under 6 months of age. A female dog reaches maturity at 6 months. That's when they get their first heat. He wants to breed this dog the first heat. He wants this dog to have a first litter of puppies before it's 1 year old. That's like taking your 14-year-old daughter and allowing her to have kids just because you want to be a grandparent before you get old. It's not right. Don't do it.
Yeah, but again, ignorant person. And
I don't know how much is ignorant or how much of it is he's being an a-hole and doesn't care.
All the above.
Because animals are nothing to him.
All the above. Well, again, I've had this conversation. You know, one of the great things about doing this podcast is that we get to talk to people all over the country and even in other parts of the world. And, you know, there are people who, like last week's podcast, you know, people actually not last week. Was it last week that we had? It wasn't last week. It was 2 weeks ago. We had the app Finding Rover. We had him on 2 weeks ago. You know, being, you know, over in the West Coast, you see things a little bit different, that everybody has their dogs in the house. Everybody, you know, treats their dogs like family. And look, it's a perception that I would honestly have believed myself until I came out here and saw, wow, people really are still way behind. They're still treating their dogs like their property. And you know, you're finding it Midwest, in the South. You're even finding it in other parts.
Anywhere that's rural.
Yeah.
You know, I am all for people going out and having their own space. Being able to have their freedom without people coming down on you for sneezing wrong. But that problem that continuously happens, that needs to stop and takes away someone's freedom a little bit, is animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was raised that animals they're animals. They're nothing. They're beasts. Not until my dad got older did he really see the love that a dog can give can really help ease your pain.
Yeah.
And they have humanized eyes. They have a heart. They know when they did wrong. They know when you're not happy. And so his completely altered, you know, like with Roxy. You know, he loved Roxy so much that he could never have seen his life without her. And that's the moment when it changed from, oh, these dogs are just beasts and animals and they don't mean anything.
Property, yeah.
To, oh, crap, I gotta take care of her. Or she's not gonna take care of me.
Right.
And unfortunately, with so many rural parts around here in the U.S., there's still people thinking that way. That it's fun to torture them. That there's nothing wrong. And that just breeds even more sick people out there. So, it's kind of like, well, if you keep doing this, you're going to lose freedom for everybody.
That's true. Well, with that said, that concludes this week's edition of G&D News.
Take Grooming along, or...
Well, welcome back to another edition of Grooming Salon, or...
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Good.
Are you nervous? Because there's a whole lot of nothing online right now.
Petrified.
Okay. Well, today it is Grooming Salon or Mobile Grooming Salon.
Oh. That's just odd.
Okay. Alright, are you ready to begin? Because I don't think I am.
Not at all.
Alright, so we'll start with this one right here. This is a punny dog one, okay? Is this a grooming salon or a mobile groomer? Indiana Bones, Temple of Groom.
Oh, jeez. I just want to absolutely take one of those cartoon mallets and bonk myself on the head right now.
Isn't that horrible?
That is terrible.
I love it.
I'm going with it's a grooming salon.
Yes, you are correct.
Ding ding.
It is a grooming salon. Okay. Let's do Launder Mutts. Launder Mutts. Is this a grooming salon or a mobile groomer?
What the? Serious F. What? Seriously, somebody actually named their...
Yes, the business
okay,
in Florida.
I hope... Well, there's your answer. Wow. I'm going with the grooming salon.
Nope.
Oh.
Wrong answer. Launder Mutts is a mobile salon out of Martin County, Florida.
Sure, whatever.
Alright. Next one. Dirty Harry grooming salon or mobile grooming salon?
I literally am going to take a cartoon mallet and beat myself for this one. This is just ridiculous. I'm going mobile.
You're correct. I don't know where it's based out of.
Who cares? I'm going to give him that. It was kind of funny. That is kind of funny.
Okay. Alright. Get your groom on. Pet salon or mobile pet salon? Get your groom
okay, now
on.
this one is a mallet to the head. This is an actual piano being dropped on the head kind of thing. And I'm going to go with grooming salon.
Yes, it is a grooming salon and grooming school out of Nebraska.
Oh, wow.
Alright, Mr. B's. Grooming salon or mobile grooming salon?
Are you sure that's not a strip club?
Nope.
Wow.
Mr. B's.
That's going to be a mobile.
Nope, that is a actual grooming salon.
Wow.
Based out of Michigan.
Mr. B's.
Mr. B's.
What can you...
I would have Mr. E's, but...
Mr. F.U.
Alright, last but not least...
Oh, trust me, this couldn't come to an end quick enough.
Shiny Paws. Pet salon or mobile pet salon?
Okay, first, can I just say, please, folks, if you're going to open up a business, be creative with it.
Shiny Paws is creative. I mean, it's got a picture of two of their dogs in a bucket getting cleaned, and they got their names on their bandanas. Why they're wearing a bandana in the bathtub is beyond me. But
I'm going with mobile.
You're correct.
And I'm gonna actually say you kind of told the answer when you said in a bucket.
Oh.
So, I mean, I got two wrong, but I'm going to go an asterisk on the last one.
Well, thank you for playing.
Before we actually go on, I have to mention, because you are talking about mobile grooming, so last week when we were doing the podcast...
Oh, God, that's right.
We're doing the podcast last week, and behind us, we didn't know this, in the studio audience, were mobile groomers, and as we were leaving the studio, their mobile truck is right there. Now, I don't know if they heard what the name of the podcast was, but they did catch the entire show.
Yeah, they were doing their books right there, and it was a brand new
I don't even think that's had a dog go in yet.
Yeah, I think they were just getting started. But I haven't seen them since.
Yeah, I think they were just passing through. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because that was something I had to actually... I was like, I gotta remember to tell that story. So, okay, now you can do your close to this.
Well, thank you for playing Grooming Salon or...
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your paws together for a main topic.
So this week, we actually will not have a main topic.
Goodbye.
It's not that. It's with the whole phone thing going out, the album art going to garbage, kind of restricted me a little bit. So this week we just decided we were going to do our normal things without having the other stuff with the main topic type thing. You know, show it doesn't always have to have one, and we kind of had opinions and comments and different things, and obviously we want to make sure that we don't have a overloaded show with over an hour. That's a couple people, not you guys, more people that know us are like, you need to keep it under an hour. So
we've given so much slack from our friends and family. It's so long.
It's so long. Why is it so long?
Because you talk to us all the time. Of course it seems like forever.
I know. I mean, but, a lot of people... I did have to mention, because I told you to remind me before we were talking in Weekly Roundup, you were saying groomers. Remember, I was actually approached by somebody, well, not approached, but a lot of our conversations with all of you guys come out from Facebook, where I talk to you guys... And somebody
all over the world.
One person actually came in and said, you really should change the name of the podcast. And I said, and why is that?
Most people don't like to change things because we're very set in our ways, and it can seem a little insulting when someone would come up and say, hey, you just need to change your name.
Yeah, and after 118 episodes, 2 years, it's kind of like, no, we're kind of there. But I was like, so why is that? And they go, well, it's actually means you're a pedophile. And I said, what? Well, apparently in Europe, the word groomer is actually not. It's approached in a different mannerism.
Groomer is somebody that grooms younger
Children
people
for
certain acts.
Right.
And of course, we do not want to be associated with anything like that. But here in the U.S., you say groomer.
Yeah.
They know exactly what you're talking about. But if you say groom, you don't know if you're talking about a person getting married.
Male getting married, yeah.
Well, I mean, this is the U.S., so I guess it could be a female
Well,
too.
in Canada is the same thing. They're more open to it than we are.
But it's somebody getting married or a haircut that you just took your dog to get.
Or even I'm grooming myself to, because facial hair. But yeah, I was like, what? Well, no, dog groomer, pet groomer. I got it now. It was really a cute conversation, but I was like, oh yeah, I better. I guess there was a soccer player in this person's area, professional soccer player, who actually, I don't know the whole story, but I guess they've been grooming 14-year-old boys, and yeah. So he was kind of giving me that insight, but when I told him, and I do have to say one last thing. Last week on our podcast, I'm not going to mention the actual page, but no longer am I putting our podcast on that page. All of you have always been so supportive of when we post the link up there. You've all been awesome. Every so often, though, we do get, those bad apples. So I was really sincerely thanking all of you guys for all your support, during the time of being, reported by some random person, which, with that said, we've actually kind of closed in on where it's coming from. Didn't happen last week, and I think I know why. But you've all been really cool about, supporting us doing this podcast and all that we're doing, in general. And one person was like, your tone and your comments are very abusive. And what it was, as I said, I sincerely want to thank all of you guys for all that you guys have said, all the support you've given us during this difficult time. I sincerely thank you from the deepest part of my heart. And they took that as offensive.
Well, there's people that are going to be like that. You look outside and you go, oh wow, the sky is so gray.
How dare you?
What are you talking about? I didn't do that. Why are you blaming me for the sky being gray? I didn't just, twinkle my fingers and said, you know what, I want, Sarah to have a bad day and give gray skies everywhere. I didn't do that. Why are you blaming me?
And that's exactly what was being said. And I'm like, this is not me being mean. I'm sincerely well, we didn't do it. We didn't report you. I didn't say you did. And I mean, it was one of those things where I was like, look, for a couple comments there, I was like, honestly, I'm really very thankful and very appreciative to everybody who actually supports this podcast. This is a free thing that we're giving to the world. We're asking nothing from anybody. Just enjoy what we're doing and appreciate it. And if you don't, just don't listen to it or ignore it, whatever. And it was continuation. And then their friend came in. I think that your comments and how rude that is to say thank you is very condescending and da-da-da-da. I was like,
you can tell the people that never get told thank you for anything. And it's unfortunate because they don't know what sincerity is. And you can tell, I have an aunt like that. You try to be sincere and her guard's always up. What are you talking about? Well, why are you saying that?
Why would you thank me?
I'm sorry if you're such a turd all the time that people can never actually be sincere with you.
Yeah, and that's what it was.
But we're being sincere right now.
Well, I'm not going to post, for one, this posting, I get to see all the time how many people see, each week's posting. And it's thousands upon thousands of people who see this. And I'm not going to say something offensive. It's not part of this show's mission statement, is to be abusive to others. We're here to set a PSA. We're here to actually tell a story. We're here to be, we're everyday normal people in a normal world who actually see abnormal things on occasion, more of an occasion than I like to say. But I'm not here to spout off BS and hurtful stuff. Oh my God, shocker, right? So when you hear this, it's like, really? So for that reason, we are no longer posting on that group. And, if any of you are, you probably saw it. If you did see it and you are part of that group, I'm sorry we won't be posting on there anymore. But that's because of a bad apple. And no, I'm not going
to... It's one of those, it's only way to resolve a bad situation is to take yourself out of it and let that situation just sit there.
Right. And that's it.
You, obviously, once you take yourself out, there's no problems anymore. You look back, there might still be problems going on, but you don't have to deal with them. Right. So we just took ourselves away from there.
Yeah, it's like, goodbye. And, hey, look, I can leave a link to the podcast there for you to listen to if you want to enjoy it. I can say great things about you, or I could just go away. I'm not going to say anything negative about you, but I'm not going to say anything positive about you either.
Right.
Well, with that sound, I guess Claire has turned on the applause sign, so I guess it's time for me to say my goodbyes. So, I'm Chris Green. Have a pet-tastic week.
And I'm Sarah Green, making sure everybody realizes life is so short. Play with a pet.
Claire.
Have a good day with your pet. Goodbye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay, gotta go in my bedtime.
And now the show is over now.